morning. And what I'm holding up here is a 25-year-old coffee-stained little chart of the structure of Freemasonry. I am a 32nd degree Scottish Rite Mason. You have to be a Master Mason 3rd degree to then go on to the Scottish Rite, and in the United States, or the York Rite. Okay, and this is a chart of both of them. It's kind of a clever thing. But what I want to show you today is sort of following on yesterday's talk about blood and the sun. This symbol here is on a ring. Now, if your father or grandfather was a Mason and they passed away, sometimes the widow or the eldest son inherits a simple gold band. It's a beautiful gold band with this symbol engraved in enamel on it. And it's a simple triangle, black line triangle with a yod in it. Okay, now that's, you might be saying, boy, that looks like more like a resh to me. Actually, that's a yod. Okay, the 10th letter in the Hebrew alphabet. And it is given to Scottish Rite Mason at their completion of the 14th degree, which is the last degree of the Lodge of Perfection. Lodge of Perfection there you see is 14th through, or 4th through 14th degree. And there's a beautiful chart there, difference between the northern and the southern jurisdiction. In California, usually it's the southern jurisdiction. And there's like little orders within the Lodge of Perfection is 4 through 14th. And the chapter Rose-Croix is 15th through 18th. And the Council Kadosh, very Templary, 19th through 30th, and the consistory, the 31st and 32nd. Now, you've heard of there's 33 degrees. Well, the 33rd degree is honorary and sort of administrative degree. It's just like in Blue Lodge Masonry, the highest you get, the highest degree is the 3rd degree, and in the Scottish Rite, at least the northern or the southern jurisdiction, the highest degree is the 32nd degree, and most Masons are that 32nd degree. Why am I telling you all of this? Okay, yesterday I did a talk about the sun and its association with blood in the sun, or I forget what I called it yesterday. And I really enjoyed it. It was very good. It got good response. But I mentioned the fact that since time immemorial, the potent power of the sun, the life-giving power of the sun, has been symbolically and allegorically associated with all creative, generative forces in nature, including the reproductive elements of human life. Okay, and I mentioned even the idea that that sunlight's been associated with the phallus, okay, and the life-giving blood has been associated with the male semen, even, and that's always been associated in esoteric Kabbalah, symbolized with the symbol of Yod, the very primal. It's like the germ. It's like the seed of the entire Hebrew alphabet. And Rabbi Ben Clifford says, Yod is a flame. And if you blow on that flame, it makes it dance, and it creates all the other Hebrew letters. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. But the symbol that the very popular and well-known and recognizable symbol of the Mason's ring there has that Yod in it. And 25 years ago, when I took this degree, the 14th degree, it's called Perfect Elu, and which is elect. Okay, I think alternate name for Perfect Elu is also Grand Elect Mason, and maybe even in my jurisdiction, that's what it's officially called. I'm reading from A Bridge to Light, which is a wonderful book, and Scottish Rite Masons get A Bridge to Light instead of what they used to get, which was Albert Pike's Morals and Dogma. But nowadays we get this. So I bet I lost my page. Yeah, of course I did. I'm just going to briefly. The lodge represents, the lodge here, 14th degree lodge. Oh, by the way, this is all not secret stuff. You can go down to buy this book anywhere. The lodge here represents the innermost chamber of the secret vault, or crypt, of King Solomon's temple, in which the true word, lost in the legend of the master's degree, is revealed and allowed to be pronounced. The vault is approached by a horizontal pathway with 9 arches, and there's a picture of that horizontal pathway. It's kind of hard to see all 9 arches, but they're there. Okay. Kabbalists out there, you seeing what's going on here? Tree of life, all that, The vault is approached by a horizontal passageway of 9 arches. The arch figures prominently in this degree. It is a symbol used by many advanced rites of Masonry. Its importance is presumed to derive from a custom of operative Masons. They marked each stone of a building, which served to identify the workman who had placed and adjusted the stone. Well, all of that may be perfectly true, but the idea of archways and the archways guarded by sentinels, which there's 3 sentinels, is just flat out from the Egyptian Book of the Dead and the passing of the pylons. Okay, and it's pretty easy to see that at least one interpretation of that would be that of each gateway that proceeds from the singularity of Kether down the 9 remaining Sephirah in the Tree of Life. Okay, somebody on the YouTube yesterday was just totally freaked out by me making an allusion to sperm. Okay, grow up, you guys. Yesterday, as if all occultism is. I'm going to read you from the Chicken Kabbalah of Rabbi Lamed Ben Clifford. And it has everything to do with the 14th degree ring, that Yod ring. Okay, this is on the section where we're talking about the rabbi's comments on let's get to know the Hebrew alphabet. We must remember that Ben Clifford wrote this little 25-page essay simply to help beginning students remember how to recognize and correctly draw the each Hebrew letter. I believe he succeeded admirably in doing this. Several of his descriptions evoke bizarre and unforgettable images. Quote, Tav looks like a Resh holding a dead dolphin by the tail. Or Lamed looks like a snake that has swallowed a brick and is now having second thoughts. As a purely Kabbalistic work, however, this essay is far from comprehensive. His comments on letters are limited primarily to their basic definitions of the letters. Occasionally, he muses briefly about how the primitive meanings may be applied to cosmic, psychological, or sexual principles. But for the most part, he seems satisfied to offer us simply an appetizer for further food for thought. The stunning exception to this is found in his comments on the letter Yod. I strongly urge the reader to carefully read and reread that section. In 210 words, Rabbi Ben Clifford casually reveals the supreme symbolic secret of creation by drawing our attention to that most mysterious of natural numbers, known to mathematicians as the Greek letter phi, spelled P-H-I usually. And it's like a circle with a line drawn through the top of it. I said phi looks like a circle with a line drawn through it, or a circle with a line drawn through it. But I don't need to draw you a picture, do I? Okay, known to mathematicians as the Greek letter phi, and to architects as the golden mean, or golden section. There is the golden mean, or the golden section. I'll tell you what the numeration is. But do you see how it's a yod? Do you see how it's doubled up to be a yin-yang? That goofy-looking thing is perfection. Yod, the golden mean, yin-yang, phi. This number, or ratio, 1.61833988749, and I'm sure it goes on infinitely. Like the irrational number pi, 3.1415, seems to issue from and set the pattern for the basic structure of the entire cosmos. But unlike other abstract numbers, the pattern set by phi is revealed naturally and universally in all living things and all things that grow and develop in stages. One of the most striking examples of this pattern of growth can be found in the shell of the nautilus, which, when cross-sectioned, reveals a breathtaking repeating pattern of what looks like extended Hebrew yods or English letter G's. On a grander scale, it can be found in the formation of the great spiral nebulae. This primal pattern of patterns is indeed the G signature of the great architect of the universe, a name by which Freemasons refer to deity. As far as I know, Ben Clifford is the first Kabbalist or alleged Kabbalist. I doubt whether he was too much of a Kabbalist, to make this profound and fundamental connection. I suppose inevitably there'll be those who view as crude and offensive Ben Clifford's sexual allusions to the Hebrew letters. He does, much like I did yesterday, or I always do. Okay, so harmless. I suppose inevitably there'll be those who view as crude and offensive Ben Clifford's sexual allusions to the Hebrew letters and other elements of Kabbalistic study. Admittedly, at first glance, it does appear that he places an inordinate emphasis on phalluses and vaginas, wombs and sperm and such. As he is no longer here to defend himself, I must feel I should say a few words on the rabbi's behalf. For the last 2,000 years, there's been a concerted effort by those who would guide the spiritual life of Western civilization to divorce human life from nature on one end of the scale and from God on the other. We are taught that we are superior to other living things because we were created in the image of deity and could do what we damn well please with the environment and the creatures around us. At the same time, we're told that deity is outside of us, that we stand eternally separated from it because of an ambiguous act of disobedience committed by our mythological ancestors, that we are cursed by the simple act of being born. Ben Clifford's 7th, 8th, and 9th command rants cleanly expose this spiritual schizophrenia as a cruel and unwholesome fraud. Everything in heaven and earth is connected to everything in heaven and earth. Everything in heaven and earth is the reflection of everything in heaven and earth. Everything in heaven and earth contains the pattern of everything in heaven and earth. Nothing can be separated from anything else, including all aspects of the human condition. To discuss sexual matters within a religious context is as proper as discussing matters of scripture or mathematics or physics. Since a great deal of our time is already thinking about sex, it is only logical that a significant part of our meditations on any subject should be dominated by the universal truths inherent in sexual imagery. Ben Clifford was fond of misquoting Freud and often told his students, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. And sometimes it is the supreme creative force of the universe. I applaud Ben Clifford's healthy attitude and casual candor. Furthermore, I can say with some small measure of authority that much of what he has to say in this area reveals the most profound level of understanding. I advise the serious student to ponder his words carefully. To those who are still offended or embarrassed by the rabbi's comments, I say, thank you for buying this book. Now grow up. Let's read the rabbi's 210 words about the Hebrew letter Yod. If I can find it here. I think it's kind of in the middle of the alphabet. Here we go. And this is how the letters are all. Remember, this is the Chicken Kabbalah of Rabbi Lamed Ben Clifford. Yod. It's a Y or an I or a J. Okay. And it forms the G. Yod is path number 20. It joins Hesed, that's number 4, to mercy, to Tifereth, number 6, beauty. Yod is a flame. Blow upon it, and you create all other letters of the alphabet. Yod is my favorite Hebrew letter because it's so simple. It is the perfect pattern of primal creation, a point extending to become the whirling motion. It is Phi, the seed of the golden spiral, the mystic G in your grandfather's Masonic ring, the yin and yang, the human embryo, the blueprint of the ram's horn, and the nautilus, the swirling cream in your coffee, and the billowing dynamics of smoke and air and water. It sets the pattern for our fingerprints, our DNA, and the shape of great galaxies. It is the primal male Shiva, divine fire that plunges joyously into the female Shakti ocean of divine water. Yod is spelled YVD, or Yod Vav Daleth, which is not a public health question. That's the rabbi. YVD. The 3 letters enumerate to 20 and mean hand. Using Kabbalistic logic, Yod is the key creative instrument of deity in the same way that the hand is the creative instrument of human beings. Get it? Behold his mighty hand! I just want any excuse to say that. Okay, you know that. The human hand, however, is only the mundane member of creation. A secret and more profound equivalent of the creative hand is the spermatozoon itself, which I believe Yod is the most appropriate hieroglyph. And those are, okay. Yod is one of the 12 simple letters and represents the zodiacal sign of Virgo, and the tarot trumps the Hermit. And if you're familiar with the esoteric qualities of the tarot cards, you know that the Hermit is indeed, in the alchemical sense of the term, equivalent, if you will, of the germinating or the fertilizing powers of sperm, at least on the material and physical level. So that's that. I'm sure not all every Mason in the universe likes that chain of thought. But maybe they do, and maybe they should. And certainly every Mason is encouraged to speculate as much as they possibly can on all of these wonderful, beautiful, and universal symbols. Anyway, that's the rant of Lon Milo DuQuette, Perfect Elu. So this Perfect Elu wishes you a happy Thursday, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.